All right, I see participants are entering the Zoom right now. Welcome to Coffee Hour with the Penn State Alumni Association. I am so excited about today's guest. As always, we ask that you open up your chat box and tell us who you are and where you're from. And today, tell us your favorite Ki-Jana Carter memory. Drop your favorite Ki-Jana Carter memory into that chat box down there. I expect to see a lot of Rose Bowl memories. And so looking forward to talking to Ki-Jana in just a couple minutes. You can see on the screen that today's session is live closed captioned. They are available. You can click on the link that Carly is going to put in the chat box when we get started. Or you could go down to the bottom of your Zoom and open up where it says closed captioning, and you can make your subtitles active. Again, drop in the chat box who you are and where you are from and your favorite Ki-Jana Carter memory. We're going to be getting started here in just another minute or two. The Zoom room is filling up here. Over 80 participants this morning in the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. All right, people are joining us here. Let's see who's in here. Karen remembers the Rose Bowl versus Oregon. Jim DeVore, class of 65, tuning in from Durham, North Carolina. I see Dawn on behalf of the San Diego chapter, a very early morning there in San Diego, California. Jamie Culinary from the class of 2005 is tuning in this morning from New Jersey. Joe Clifford, tuning in from Cunningham, Pennsylvania. Good morning, Dad. John Myers from Roland, Missouri. Oh boy, we have a wide audience. John Michelishin, class of 2010. His favorite memory was that first play of the Rose Bowl as well. Doug Barbin from, where is Doug? My
Sacramento.
screen moved them. From Sacramento, okay. Excellent. Orlando, Florida represented. Anthony House remembers the comeback at Indiana. That was a nail biter. I remember the comeback at Illinois, which we will talk a little bit about. But good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. We are going to get started here in just a couple seconds. Where else would you rather be than a Zoom full of Penn Staters? I'm the CEO of the Alumni Association, Paul Clifford, and welcome to the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. Each week on Coffee Hour, you can expect to hear the voices of Penn Staters talking about what they're passionate about, and you can expect to feel the pride and the power of the Penn State network. Today's session, as I mentioned, is live. Closed captions are available for this event. You can access them by clicking the closed caption button at the bottom of your Zoom window and then clicking show subtitles. You can also customize your caption view by clicking the stream text link that is now posted in the chat. And just a reminder, we are recording this session and we'll be editing it and sharing it with other Penn Staters. Today, we are talking with an all-time Penn State football great, Ki-Jana Carter. Ki-Jana was born in Columbus, Ohio, raised in Westerville. He was a star member of the football team and was part of that 1994 Nittany Lions squad that was a perfect 12-0. He ranks number 10 all-time in program history in rushing yards. The 1994 campaign saw him dubbed an All-American, and he finished second in the Heisman Trophy race. He capped off his college career with a 156-yard, 3-touchdown performance against the Oregon Ducks in the Rose Bowl. He played 8 seasons in the NFL after being selected number 1 by the Cincinnati Bengals in the 1995 draft. He is a Penn State graduate holding a degree in business marketing and currently resides in South Florida, where he is the CEO of ByoGlobe, a brand and marketing company. I'm excited to welcome Ki-Jana Carter to Coffee Hour. What's up, Ki?
What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Look, I'm
I'm
repping
about,
Team Ki-Jana. I got
I'm about to
my
say, I love that jersey you wearing.
celebrity softball jersey on, and look, I got my Ki-Jana Carter bobblehead doll here. So I'm ready to be. I'm all fanboy right now. So excited
You're my man.
that you are here. Okay, so let's start. You grew up in the shadow of Ohio Stadium. You were recruited by Ohio State. At that point, Penn State
Yeah.
was just a new kid on the block in the Big Ten. How did you become a Penn State Nittany Lion?
Well, actually, Penn State wasn't even in the Big Ten yet. That shows
Right,
you my age. They made an announcement I think going into my senior year of high school that they were going to join the Big Ten, or maybe my junior year. So, yeah, I'm from Columbus, Ohio, born in Columbus, but raised in Western, which is a suburb of Columbus. So I'm like 15, 20 minutes away from Ohio
right,
State University. So the whole process got pretty crazy. So my junior year, obviously, I had a pretty good season and started getting letters and from different colleges. And I remember, I think the first one I ever got was like from Army, and I'm like, oh my god, I got a college letter, recruiting letter from them. But it got kind of hectic, and then kind of speed track how I actually became Penn State. Well, going into the summer of my senior year, my high school football coach was saying they were going to take a drive to Penn State to speak to coach and different coaches about their defense. Back then it wasn't really a spread offense. It was,
right.
double fullback. So we ran like a 4-4 defense. And so obviously he wanted to speak to Joe and our defensive coaches about, some different type of things. And they said, well, why don't you come ride with us to Penn State? I'm like, Pennsylvania, and I'm from Ohio. I never really left. I'm like,
Right.
I'm not going to Pennsylvania. No way. Come on. I said, how far? It's like 5 hours. Like, dude, I'm not driving. I'm not riding in the car. Come on, you might like it. You never know. So make a long story short, I said, okay, I'll go. And then when I went, I met OJ McDuffie, which is one of the great receivers. Dave Daniels was a receiver at Penn
Yeah.
State too, and then Leonard Humphreys. And the night I met them, we started talking, and they was like, where are you from? I said, I'm from Columbus. They say, oh, yeah, well, OJ is from the Cleveland area. And then Leonard was from Akron. I'm like, hold on. You mean there's some guys here that's from Ohio? And then next thing you know, we start talking and we watch, the Holiday Bowl that they just came off and won against BYU.
Right.
And we just started talking. And I was like, you know what? These guys are cool. They're really accepting me. I'm just a high school kid, and they're in the summertime, and they're taking their time out of their schedule to meet with me and talk with me and just hang out with me at their apartment. So I was like, you know what? All right, maybe this place is kind of cool. And then obviously when you get to the campus, it speaks for itself. It's just beautiful,
Right.
Set inside the mountains and all that. So I think the biggest thing was for me just to get there. And then once I started getting recruited, that whole last year was kind of crazy, just all the different schools. But one thing, OJ, Brian O'Neill, and eventually became a fullback when we played with him for a year, and a couple other guys, kind of really treated me as their little brother, and they would call me. Back then there was no cell phone, so they would call me, long
Right.
distance and just check in to see how I'm doing and things like that. And I was like, you know what? I really start feeling at home, and where I wanted to go to school was one, obviously a good football program, a good school, but also I wanted to get along with the players and see if they had the same type of characteristics that I had. And
Right.
granted, I was All American in high school, but I never really had the big head, not being arrogant, and it just seemed like the guys at Penn State, when they were treating me as a high school kid, was really down to earth with me and just treated me like I was like their little brother.
Yeah.
So kind of speed forward, I went to a couple of games during the year, but obviously I went to other, High State, of course, they were catering me pretty hard and things like that. So I decided to do a visit, and I wanted Penn State to be one of my visits. And Penn State was my first visit of 5. And it just got kind of hectic, with the recruiting process, especially even way back then. A lot of pressure on me to stay home, being the hometown kid, being highly touted, that they say, and but at the same time, like, my mom loved Joe, and she knew that I was happy there, and I really liked it there, and she was like, "No, I want you to go to Penn State." So, in the end, it was hard. There was a lot of
Right.
pressure, and I still get it when I go back home. 25 years later, wanted to go to Ohio State, but no, I just felt more at home at Happy Valley.
Awesome. So you're getting a lot of love from teammates. Hey, Ki-Jana, come to Happy Valley, come play football with us. Then you get to Penn State and they hand you a red shirt. So how did, right? You were parade All-American, right? You were highly recruited,
Yes,
and they show you the love by saying, hey, sit out a year and learn a little bit. How did you handle that?
not good. I'm gonna be honest, not good. So obviously in the early '90s, it was very rare that freshmen played.
Right.
So usually, no matter who you are, you're gonna be redshirted. Nowadays, basically, a freshman wants to play and they almost want to start. So going into the training camp, you don't know what to expect. But during that training camp that we had, I felt like I was playing pretty good, and I thought that I was doing pretty good, and I thought I should be able to go play. So there was a lot of frustration during at the beginning of the camp, and again, for the most part, I think there's only two people that really play. I think my freshman year, Bobby Ingram, which was my roommate,
right.
and I think Lionel Fayard. I think they were the only two freshmen that played from our class. So it was very frustrating because I felt like that I could go play and I wanted to play, and obviously running out of the tunnel and you're seeing back then it was like 85,000 before we had the addition. And you just feel it and you get on the sideline like, God, I know I can contribute. I want to get out there and play, and that's just your competitive nature. So it was very tough. I had a lot of talks with Joe because there were some heated things during camp, and then
right.
I think our first home game, first or second home game, we played Cincinnati. We beat them 81-0. I mean, they put our managers in basically to go play. Not no disrespect to our managers, but right. I'm like, yo, there's no way that I need to go play. But back then, if you're redshirt, you can't play any games.
Right.
So I was steaming. I said, Mom, I'm out of here. I said, I'm transferring because there's no way that I should not, at least this game, I should be playing. And so Joe came and talked to me. It was like, I know you're frustrated. You have a good camp. You're doing well. You're gonna be a hell of a player. Heck of a player. He didn't really curse. A heck of a player.
Right.
But we want to basically redshirt you because we feel that maybe not this year. The year you're gonna have a very successful season. We want to be able to save you next year. I said, Coach, I ain't trying to hear that right now. When I'm going against our scout team, there's been stories about our scout team, how good our scout team was, and all from our class. I think we had like 14, 15 guys playing the league from that scout team. But we were, our defense was, we were number 3 in the country, and they knew our play, but they couldn't stop us. And it is one of those frustrating parts. Like, I know if I'm doing this good against our defense, I feel that, I like to play. Right. So I think probably after like the second or third game, our scout team turned it more into, all right, so you know what? You don't want to play us. It's going to be us against our defense. And we would, because since our helmets are white, we would dress up our uniforms to be the opposite team and just took the boat on, like, even though, what the script plays are, we're going to try to go out there and dominate. And it just turned into a little bit more of a competition thing at first, and we kind of made it fun within our group. We had, like, Kerry Collins was a quarterback on our record. He redshirted. Brian O'Neill was a fullback, and Marco, Keith Conlon, Andre Johnson, Jeff Harding. So what we did, we just made it. Bob Damon was actually our out team coach, and he used to play there too. So we just made it into, it's like, what, we're gonna have our own team, and we're just gonna go out there and no disrespectfully, but try to embarrass our defense. It's going to make them better, because if we're doing good, if you're foreshadowing how we were going at the end of the year, we were better than probably some of the teams that they played against.
Yeah, that's a team. That's a team. Those guys you just mentioned there, they didn't lose too many football games, right? Whether it was in practice or later when they actually got on the field. So, exactly. Hey, Ki-Jana, take me back to playing football in the backyard or back in Westerville when you were at practice. Who did you model your game after? Who was, like, in your head that you were saying, this guy gets the ball and rushes for a touchdown? Who'd you model your game after?
Well, obviously in the early '80s, I grew up a Cowboy fan. No,
Okay.
that was America's team. So Tony Dorsett was my man. At the same time, I wasn't probably as shifty as Tony Dorsett. So, like running back style, I would say probably Bo Jackson.
Okay.
No, Bo was obviously big, but very, very fast. Growing up, I was always the fast kid in the neighborhood, at school, and things like that. And I was a little pipsqueak, but my frame, I was like 200, I was 215 pounds in high school as a tailback, and that's very rare that you see that. So I would say probably like little. Obviously, I was Tony Dorsett. OJ Simpson was the man.
Right.
Even though he was before me. Then growing up Cowboy, obviously Emmitt Smith. But then I would say probably Bo Jackson was the one. But Barry Sanders is my favorite running back. I think he's the greatest running back of all time. But running style, I would say more like Bo Jackson.
So you said you chose Penn State because of Coach Paterno and that you wanted to play in the Rose Bowl. We're going to get to the Rose Bowl in just a couple of minutes, but talk about your relationship with Coach Paterno. There were some heart-to-heart conversations there early in your time at Penn State, but share a little bit about your relationship with Coach.
Well, it was a unique relationship with one because he had to kind of do some of the recruiting with me being that Columbus, Ohio, and in Big Ten country. So it was tough to bring out. Also, he knew my situation. I grew up with a single mom, and obviously he does a great job because one is not only about football, but it's also about making sure that the kids are going to be taken care of and go to school. And so he always had a soft spot for the parents, and I could think a lot of parents would attest to that. And especially with my mom, he had a nice relationship with my mom, and it was one of those things where he was kind of like a father figure. No, at the same time, he was my coach, but I had no reservation to go in and talking to him. And sometimes with a head coach, you kind of reserve, like I don't want. But it was just one of those things that outgoing, not brash, but want to talk to him and say, hey, I want to talk to you, and he would come in and pull me and talk to me. So we had a nice, very nice special bond, and it obviously helped when we played, and even when I got done playing, I'll always come back, and when I go back to try to visit for a game, I always reach out to Jay, and his wife, Mama Paterno, because obviously I grown up with a father. I've had great role models in my life. I've been blessed. I was raised in a big brother's big, so I had a big brother. He was actually a football coach. And then my high school football coach ended up being my godfather. And then obviously Coach had some strong, even though my father wasn't involved, I had some strong, influential people in my life. And it was just good to see the transition from when I was my adolescent. When I started playing football, I had my big brother. Then going into high school, I had my high school football coach. Then when I went to college, I had a upstanding man in Coach Paterno. Uh-oh.
This is the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. I'm Paul Clifford, and I'm joined by Ki-Jana Carter, football All-American and CEO of ByoGlobe. So you played on that 1994 team, arguably the greatest team in Penn State history. And if we were Pitt, we would actually call them a national champion, but we're not. So,
of course, right?
Right. Talk about what made that team special.
The unit. I mean, it gave me goosebumps now, just because it's the camaraderie. I would say, obviously the talents speak for themselves. We had the number one recruiting class in the country that year, coming in my freshman years. The thing is, there was no egos within our team. No matter if you were the star player like Carey, the quarterback, to if you were a walk-on, we were all the team. No matter if I scored 4 touchdowns in one game or I didn't score any touchdowns, or maybe I had one in that, we were all, because it was about the bigger picture. And when we came into our freshman year, our class, we just had a meeting together and said, before we want to win a national title, that was just one of our goals. And so the cohesiveness of that, seeing within our class, the 91 class, and then obviously the 90 class, because a lot of those guys played too. Year at year, like the first year, we great year. When we beat Tennessee in the Fiesta Bowl and we finished number 3. Then the next was tough. We went undefeated. We were 5-0, and then we lost to Miami, and then we basically just tanked. It was a tough season. And after that season, we met at locker room after that game, and like Eric Ravati, Tyoko Jackson, and guys like that said, look, unfortunately, we had a bad season. A lot of egos and stuff started getting involved. I'm not gonna let that happen anymore. And so the next year, that's when we entered the Big Ten, and obviously we had the tough losses against Ohio State and Michigan. And that last year, we knew that we had a lot of returning starters. We had a lot of good players. So we just had a goal, just going into that spring ball, even though I ran track, but going into that first meeting of our training camp, I kind of try to take some of the leadership role. We always had the players come down and talk to the team, and just got up and went down with Kerry and some of the older classmen and said, look, we have a great team. We lost 2 games. 1 game, Michigan, we definitely should have lost. Ohio State, they beat us. But you know what? We had the chance to do something special here. And the goals that we set out as our freshman year that we wanted to do, everything is on the table for us. Everybody returning, the cohesiveness. And so we need to go out there and play. We need to go out there and play every play like it's our last and take it one step at a time. And if we do that, then obviously good things will happen. So the biggest thing with our 94 team was just the cohesiveness. It was like, no matter if it was our lineman or DB, we all hung out with each other. Again, like if I had a great game, I was no bigger than our scout team person. The next day going in and still rubbing shoulders. And that was a big thing. And we all played for each other. That's another thing. You could have, like in the NFL, you notice sometimes it's a business. Guys making this money, they're not playing for each other. And that we played for each other. Like there was a couple games that Mike Archie, he scored like a couple touchdowns. I was the first one to go out there, run on the field, and jump on him and hugging him, even though I was a starter. Why? Because I was happy for him. I was happy for our team. And the thing is, we wanted to dominate so much that come to third quarter, we want to go sit on the sideline, rest our body, and root for the other younger guys going, because the thing is, the more game experience that the younger guys get, you never know when their number's going to be called to play in the regular game. And you can see, like in the Rose Bowl, when Chuck Pizenic came in and Clint Holtz came in and played, when Kim Herring, that they really stepped up and really changed the game for our defense.
So you mentioned some of the guys that you played with. Arguably the greatest offensive line in Penn State history: Marco Rivera, Andre Johnson, Keith Conlon, Bucky Greeley, Jeff Hardings, put on Kyle Brady on the end, right? That's an unbelievable line to run behind. Talk about your relationship with your teammates, though. You talked about the cohesiveness, but in particular, like those 5 or 6 guys. That was that's a special relationship between the offensive line and the running back.
Well, those guys. 4 of those guys were Keith, Andre. 4 of those guys were in my class.
Right.
Keith, Marco, Jeff, and Andre. So that alone, we were on that scout team. So we built cohesiveness. That year or two, Kyle was on that scout team because he was hurt. Our relationship with them has been awesome, and especially like the bond continues to go now. Now, obviously, everybody has their own lives and this and that, but I think Keith Conlon is kind of like the staple. It brings everybody together because he still lives in State College and going back to the games and things like that. But it was almost kind of like a lot of times when the linemen are very proud when they see their running back do well, because when they score a touchdown, I felt like they scored a touchdown. And one of the things that I've always did and always wanted to do is, like, when I scored a touchdown, it wasn't about what I did. It was about what we did, and a lot is pertaining to what they did. So after every touchdown, one thing that you see a lot of people now, Keith was like one of the biggest guys on our team. So I would jump, he would catch me and lift me up. But then after every touchdown, once they kicked the extra point, I would bring out little Gator cups back in the day. I would bring it out and hand it to him and say, guys, and things like that. And it's one of those little things, just trying to be humble, saying, you know what, I might get all the attention because being a running back, you scored a touchdown. But in order for that to happen, these guys had to do their job. So, I love those guys. They're all my brothers, and like I said, me and Keith probably talk the most out of all of them.
Yeah.
But everybody, we saw last year, when everybody came for reunion, call with everybody. But it was great to see. And I love the guys, and obviously without them, it'd be no me. So they need to get more of their credit than I do.
Absolutely. You were talking a little bit earlier about games where you scored 3 touchdowns and 4 touchdowns. I remember the night you scored 5 touchdowns against Michigan State. You've beat Tennessee, you beat USC. 94 team blew out Ohio State. We were tied late with Michigan in 94 and ended up winning that game. The big comeback at Illinois. What games stand out to you?
All of them.
Right.
I can agree. I mean, it's kind of like going into the first game. I remember we're playing Minnesota and we're up there. We beat them the year before, like 38-20, and we're warming up, and it's just no fans being fans, but they're like, "No, you guys suck," and this and that. And me and Bucky we're kind of like by the end zone, and I was heated. I said, "These dudes are straight up disrespecting us." I said, "We need to go out there and beat their."
Right.
So and that's what we did. So I mean, it was that. And then the next week we play. I'm gonna go each week. Then we play USC. Year before, it was a nail biter. We beat them 21-20 right at the end. They scored, and I think they tried to go for 2 or something like that, and we stopped them. But no, we knew again what kind of team we had, but we had to take a week. And USC being their historic program and great athletes, this and that, and we go out there and shellac them. And then you start saying like, okay, we might got something. You beat USC 38-3 and we beat them 35-0 at halftime. We might have something, but again, it's a process. And then I think the next week we played Iowa.
Right.
Iowa or Rutgers. Iowa blew them out. I didn't really play that much because we blew them out too quickly. But it just going forward. And I think well, then we played Temple, and then I dislocated my thumb. Okay. And I'm like, you got to be S-ing me right now. No, the season's going well, I'm playing well, and not saying that I was like the main focus, but I say, I'm playing well. This can't be happening to me right now, happening to our team. And not saying that Mike Archie or Mikey Pitts couldn't do it, but it's just one of those things that felt like that, this can't be happening. So when I dislocated my thumb, I didn't know what happened, and I went to the hospital, and I was listening to the game, and I go to them, and they try to pull my thumb back, and I'm like, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, we got to get surgery." I'm like, "What do you mean you got to get surgery?" "Well, your ligament's stuck in this and that." I'm like, "So what does that mean?" "Well, you're going to be out." No, I can't be out. It's not this year. No. This year is too special. And I've had injuries in high school. I missed some games. Said, no. This year is too special. No, it's not happening. Is there a possible way I could play? Well, you know what? We'll see this and that, but we got to let your stitches heal. Well, just by the grace of God, we had a bye week before we played Michigan. Yeah. And they said, well, once your stitches come out, we'll reassess. I'm like, stitches come out, I'm playing. Right. There's no, you put a cast on it. I don't know what you have to do. I am going to play. Well, then Joe was like, okay, well, we'll see what happens, and we'll practice. And if you can practice with it, this and that, we can do it. I said, Coach, whatever has to be done. Right. I'm not, the season's not getting wiped out, because I missed the last 2 games last year in Illinois because I injured my knee. So going into that bye week, I couldn't really do anything because I had the stitches in my thumb. But then the next week when they took him out, they started doing some different things of how it hurt like hell. But I didn't tell them that it was hurting. And there's a couple. I mean, if you see some of our games, there'll be like some plays where I'll go off the field because my thumb is just killing me. This and that, let it wear off, and we'll go back in. So I think that was probably one of the main things going into Michigan, being from Ohio, Michigan. Even though that's one of the schools I visited, but they had a tough loss against Colorado earlier in that year, the Hail Mary.
Remember that play?
But Yeah,
Yeah, that was
absolutely. I think we had, I think it was like the first game of the season, and they played like on like a Friday night or something. It was not a week, so we all watched it. It was crazy, but still, them losing on Hail Mary against Colorado, they didn't lose. The ranking didn't go down, so it was 3 versus 5. Going into the big house and how they beat us last year, and it was a tough pill to swallow. And then, we were dominating them at the beginning, but then obviously they, the team that they are, they came back, and
right.
it was just a gut wrenching game. I would say that one was okay. It's like one of those things like you don't know how you are to exercise some demons, and then
Right.
coming back from adversity up a lot, letting them come back to tie it up, and then we came back to win. Then Brian Miller gets that interception on that last drive. It was like, oh man, that's one knockdown. Then we got Ohio State. Now Ohio State beat the crap out of us last year. They the year before
Right.
they just beat us up, and that was an extra incentive for me because being from Columbus, I cried after that game. I don't cry after I cried after the game, and I took it personal. And this year was something special to say, what, it's homecoming. They felt like they were getting disrespected. It's like, what, you have no idea what's going to happen. And then there's one of those games that it just snowballed. And I think once we got over those two humps, beat Michigan and Ohio State, because they were like the perennial powerhouses of the Big Ten. Things, not saying it was smooth sailing, but it just like, okay, you know what? Now we got momentum. Now we just got to keep it going. We can't take any teams lightly. And then unfortunately, a lot of people bring up Indiana. And for us, it's unfortunate because there was no media coverage every game. Like, we're number one in the country. Every outlet's going to watch us. We're going to be on national TV. But back then, there wasn't that many coverages. So with the Indiana game, we're up by like 21 points. But at the end, Joe takes the starters out. We have a punt return. They call it back, and then they throw a Hail Mary. But then the people in the media are like, whoa, they only beat Indiana 34-29. Like, you have no, like, I didn't really play the fourth quarter after I scored my long touchdown. Joe took us all out. And then no disrespect to our backups, but our backups played, and he kept their starters in, and they were doing all these things, trying to score points. And then on paper, they look bad, but the thing is, I'm like, well, how do we go from the week before we beat Ohio State 63-14? They were ranked 14. We go down to number 2.
Right.
You'll never see that again. A number 1 team blow out a number 14, and they go to number 2. And then the next week, they see that score, like, okay, you know what? We're going to put Nebraska number 1 in bowl polls. And then from there, it was just a upfield battle. But at the same time, it's like, you know what? We wanted to control all we can, and we do it, and we'll let the things take care of themselves. Then obviously the number 1, Illinois. That's a tough game. They're playing. They had the number 1 defense. I mean, if you look at their defense, I mean, they had Kevin Hardy, Simeon Rice, Joe Holasek, Chad Colford. They just had Dana Howard. They had guys, down line, and the great difference. And granted, we spotted them, I think, 21 points or something like that. I fumbled and things like that. So we didn't help ourselves, but to show the character of class of being in that hostile environment and come back and winning that game, it just was, I think that there was obviously, I know I'm rambling, but there was a lot of memorable things of that year where say, you know what, this shows the character of the team by doing this. This shows the character of the team by doing this. Like Michigan, going in a hostile environment against number 5 and beating them. But playing against Ohio State, they're ranked 14, but just going out there dominating from the beginning, it wasn't even close. And then having a comeback against, Illinois wasn't a sexy team, but they were one of those good, hard-fought defensive teams that, a lot of times, like, look at the Ravens, and when they won the Super Bowl, they wasn't a great offense, but they had great defenses.
Right.
And so having those be able to score 35 points on the number 1 defense in the country like that, those really shows the character about what us being down 21-0 and be able to come back and win in those games.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to show
Sorry
something
for
here.
Too.
That's all right. That's all right. Let's see if this works. I'm not sure if you can see that on your screen there.
Come on.
But we are going to.
Come on. So what's so funny about this play? Before that play, me and Bucky Greeley, Bucky was like, Joe, he gave us like a 10 or 12 play sheet Say this is
Right.
depending on how the field is and things like that. This is what the first 10 plays are going to be. So we knew what the first play was going to be. And so when we got to the field, Bucker's like, let's take this to the house. And I said, hey, I'll meet you there. And obviously, luckily, obviously that will be, unfortunately, that will be play for our fans, for a lifetime. But it was just so crazy, being from Big Ten country,
Right.
in Columbus, Big Ten, Rose Bowl's everything, and the BCS wasn't there, so there's certain bowls that you all dreamed about, and being in Columbus, I always wanted to play in the Rose Bowl, and when Penn State was announced they were playing in the Big Ten, that helped me feel a little more comfortable because I think in the end I wanted to play in a Big Ten school just because of that.
Right. Right.
So the fact that now that I get to see that video that you showed in all the time, and my wildest dreams I ever think being in the Hall of Fame of the Rose Bowl, and it was like,
Yeah.
you know what, it just icing on the cake. This is lovely.
Yeah. So I the play call in the huddle, by the way, that's hey diddle diddle Ki-Jana up the middle. I know
Keith
Kenny
Jackson's the best.
Wheaton. So Kenny Wheaton hit you at the
Oh, that's right. He was at
25.
Oregon then. What you had
Yeah.
Oregon?
Well, no, I mean, but I know Kenny. Kenny
Okay.
Wheaton hit you hard, and you just shrugged him off. And then
Yeah.
75 yards later, you were in the end zone. An iconic
83.
play in Penn State history. It is shown on every highlight video. It is you are immortalized not just for that play, but for your entire career. I think of that season, that '94 season, 1,500 plus yards, right? 23 touchdowns. You were, I think, number 2 in the country behind Rashawn in touchdowns that year. And really, if you look at it, you probably played 8 games with how often you didn't play in the second half. And so I've talked to Blair Thomas. Blair Thomas said the only person that could stop him from winning the Heisman Trophy was Joe Paterno, because Joe didn't want to run. Joe didn't want to run the score up on people, so he would take.
But when Blair played, they didn't score them. When Blair played, they scored like their scores like 14-10 and 25-7.
Exactly. So I want to get to with the number 1 pick of the 1995 NFL draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Ki-Jana Carter. So number 1 pick, how did Penn State prepare you to play in the NFL?
Well, I want to address kind of you was talking about the Heisman thing, and the thing is, yeah, of course, when you see like the ceremonies every year and things like that, you can say, well, okay, that couldn't have been me. I always told like my teammates, I tell people, it was a blessing that we had 2 players in that in the Heisman ceremony, me and Kerry.
Right.
And I in the end, I wouldn't want it any other way because of our team, and obviously our individual statistics spoke for themselves, and Aaron is very honoring and humble. But at the same time, that football's a team sport, and to show that how great our team was, that we had 2 guys in the Heisman Trophy ceremony, was totally awesome. Now, granted, in the end, you find out, oh yeah, you finished second. You're like, damn, I was that close from winning. But you know what? God rest his soul. Rashawn Salam, rest in peace. But you know what? No, the stats showed themselves, and that's something like, yeah, you know what? You can put my stats up with his, and I didn't play that much, but at the end, like I said, it was about our team, and for us to go undefeated. Granted, we know a national title, but we feel like we're a national title. I'll take that over my individual accolades anytime, because we're immortalized more at Penn State because of that. Now, granted, I could have been a second Heisman Trophy winner, but people remember our undefeated team, the '94 team, and come to find out, we're the last undefeated team that Joe ever coached. So those type of things make me proud in the long run. But how did Penn State prepare me for the NFL? Well, from a football standpoint, NFL training camp was easy compared to what it was at Penn State. In college, there's a lot of numbers, so there's a lot of hitting, and not saying that guys but you can have practices, and if guys are injured, there's 100 more other guys that can go there and practice. Where in the pros, it's a money thing, and you got some guys making so much amount of money. You can't practice like you do in college. You got to practice smart because these people are making money now, so you can't practice as hard. Now, in the 90s, NFL practices were hard. Nowadays, these kids are chilling now. They don't even wear shoulder pads now. They're chilling. But at the same time, really, Penn State really teach me a discipline. Well, one thing is what Penn State with Joe. If a meeting starts at 1, you're really supposed to be at 12:50. So you always be there 10 minutes early. And that's what the meeting starts. Now, if you get there at 1 o'clock, you're not technically late, but it's just one of those traditional things that was passed down from the seniors down to the freshmen. Look, the meeting starts at 1. Be in 50. No hands. And it's one of the things he prepared you with life, because he would say, it's never good to be late for anything. Now, granted, I still have problems doing that sometimes, and my wife would attest to that. But at the same time, you try to instill those qualities in it, and that's what he did, because he knew that some of these guys are not going to be able to play in the pros. You got to get ready for the real world, and for how you present yourself. Back then, tattoos was really nothing you could do about tattoos, but like the Yankees, no facial hair. Guys that have earrings and things like that. Now, when he got older, he softened up a little bit, but at the same time, back then, the corporate world is all about presentation and how you present yourself. So, we always went to a game wearing a suit because it's a business trip. No shaving. So when you're going to present yourself, you know how to carry yourself. You look a certain way, and when you're going into a job interview, you're looking presentable. Nowadays with social media and now you can whatever you want, doesn't really matter. But back then, that was something that was very, very important. So obviously on the field, like I said, practice, but I learned a lot more off the field, how to carry yourself. When I went into the NFL locker rooms, you can see like guys from these different schools, and at Penn State, it was about the team. We had a goal. We didn't want to lose. We want to win. And in the pros, it got into, it could be a money thing, it could be a jealousy thing, and it's a lot more different, a lot more, I don't know what to say, a lot more different things involved in the pros. And it's a true business. And then at the same time, I'm 21 years old, but then I got a guy 35 who has 3 kids. That's kind of hard to adjust to, where like 5 months ago, I'm playing in the Rose Bowl, or I'm playing in my last game at Michigan State. And these are guys say, hey, they was like, well, I got to go home to my kids, or I'm fighting to make this team because I got 3 mouths to feed. And sometimes how you adapt to that and how quickly you adapt to that is a big transition, from college to the pros.
Yeah. So the other difference, and this is my favorite Ki-Jana Carter story, but the other difference was the size of the towels, right? When you got into the locker room with the Cincinnati Bengals, they were handing out little kid towels, and you said, no, we ain't having any of that. Nah. And you bought beach towels for the whole organization.
Yeah. So at Penn State, we all had our own towels. Each towel was numbered based on your locker. So when you wash them, you put your stuff on a clip and you wash them, and it goes back into your locker. Well, now I'm not gonna say every team like this, but a lot of teams, the NFL is like that. It was basically they take towels, they just throw them in, wash it, and they fold them up, and you take them off the rack. Well, I'm somewhat of a germaphobe, and at the same time, it's like, dude, I'm not. This towel was on the floor yesterday. You guys wiping stuff. It could be in the washer. I'm like, that's not happening. So what I did was, I didn't know what I know now being in my business, but I was like, no, I'm going to make towels for everybody. So I went to a towel company and said, look, I need 100-something towels, whatever it is. And we all had big Cincinnati Bengals, had big towels made with Cincinnati Bengals thing in there. So we all had our own towels. Come to find out, so going forward, fast forward, when I played for Washington and New Orleans, I would bring my own towels in, and they were washing for me. No, they put them in the wash, but they would know like these are my towels. So that was one of the things I didn't want to share my towel with anybody.
That's awesome. So, all right, I want to get to, we have a little bit of fun here on Coffee Hour. I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions. You say the first thing that comes to mind. So,
Okay.
at Penn State, your favorite class?
My favorite class was Econ 01,
Okay.
by our elective Econ.
All right. Favorite spot on campus?
When I was at school,
Yeah.
um, favorite spot on campus. Well, honestly, you can say the football facility. Favorite
Right.
spot was the hub because we had the hub had fast break and RC profits and the food play the hub
All
for
right.
sure.
So we hear stories of people all over the country, that they're in Europe, they're in Africa, they're traveling, and they hear a "we are." What's the most unusual "we are" moment that you have had?
Wow, that's a good question, Paul.
Yeah.
Unique. Um, Man, that's a good one.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
thinking,
one thing with me, I'm always wearing my Penn State stuff. Always
right,
wearing.
right.
We were on a when I first went out, we went on. I took my family on a cruise, and I was just minding your own business. But obviously, I'm wearing my Penn State stuff. Next thing you know, we are. I'm like, where it is, and somebody's waving from the other side, and I'm like, Penn State. Um,
That's awesome.
so that was, I would say, you caught me off guard now. I would say that was probably young because you like when you're in school, you don't necessarily realize how big the association of Penn State is, or because you're kind of still in school.
Right.
But once you get out of school, like you're saying, Africa, this and that, you got people all walks of life, saying it. So we were, and it was a cruise. I think we were like, I was in like the Bahamas on the cruise ship.
Right.
Next thing I know, somebody was like, "We are." I'm like, where you coming from? And
Right.
actually, it wasn't on the ship. It was in the country of the Bahamas, on like
Right.
on land. Somebody was like, "We are." I'm like, "This is awesome." I was
That's
like,
great.
Penn State.
How about
Yeah.
your favorite stadium besides Beaver Stadium, of course, your favorite stadium that you played in?
In college,
Yeah.
um, well, obviously not just because we were just talking about it. I would say the Rose Bowl because
Yeah.
that was something that was my. I would say probably the second one would be Ohio Stadium, where Ohio State plays, because being from Columbus, the horseshoe, they always had the high school championship games there. I ran state
Oh,
track
wow.
meets there, things like that. Just being able to play in my hometown, even though it ended up in a loss. But I say Rose Bowl for sure one, and then I would say Ohio Stadium number two.
Awesome. The toughest opponent or the best player you've ever played against?
Toughest opponent,
Yeah.
um, Illinois defense. That front Illinois defense by far, and it was one because again their defenses were a little different, but there were four linemen. Dana Howard, I think he's in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Sidney Rice and Kim Hardy. I would say them by far was the toughest. Now, granted, I got lucky because I had a lot of bodyguards in front of me when I called my linemen. I
Sure.
called them my
Sure.
bodyguards. They took a lot of stress off of me, so it's really hard for me to really complain because
Yeah.
that'd be more of a question to ask them. But yeah, the linebacking group for was linebacking group from Illinois was a problem.
So, besides Penn State football, your favorite Penn State sport?
Now,
Yeah.
all of them.
All of
I
them.
don't care. Being all of them. I mean,
I
obviously, when it goes, no, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I follow. I'm Facebook friends with you, and I know you get fired up during basketball games.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Coach Chambers last year, and we had a. It just stinks because of COVID. This is a year. Obviously, we were going to make the tournament, and we had a very, very good team, and we got up, ranking pretty high. And I think the ranking kind of jinxed us because that's when we started struggling. But follow obviously Penn State basketball. Anything Penn State's on TV, being in South Florida, Big Ten Network is being
Right.
watched. So, Coach Rose with volleyball, I watched soccer. I watched lacrosse last year. That hurt me when we lost to, I think it was at Duke we lost to in the, I didn't really get to see too many of the regular season games. Obviously wrestling, duh. I mean, Coach Anderson, what he's done with that powerhouse. But my favorite Penn State sport besides football, all of them, because I'm a Penn Stater, and I support all our programs. So I love watching all of them.
How about your favorite flavor of creamery ice cream?
This is something that's going to be very, very shocking to you. And I think I've been to the creamery once in my whole entire life. Well, one, and people say, well, back in the day, you remember where it used to be at.
Right,
so
right.
First of all, I didn't have no money like that. And it was kind of towards West Hall, so I didn't really have a lot of classes. Besides my first year, I had class in the Forum. And I know my business wing was over there, but I never really went over there. Right. But then after the games, Saturday and Sunday, forget about it. There was lines, going down the street. So I'm never going. So during the week, I never really had ice cream. But we were lucky; we had the creamery ice cream at our training table.
Okay.
So we had ice cream there, but knowing the type of ice cream flavors there, the creamery. Sure. I'm sorry, everyone. I don't know. I know Peach Paterno. Peach Paterno is a favorite one. But honestly, I've only been to the creamery once, but we had the creamery ice cream at our training table, but we didn't have like the full. So I want to go, and every time my wife went to Penn State too, and we always say we want to go up there and go, and just for some reason it hasn't happened because we leave like on Sunday, but that's definitely going to be a safer, especially with my little son. I know he's going to love ice cream, so come back to me in about a year or so then. I'll tell you.
Excellent. Hey, tell folks what you're up to now with ByoGlobe. I know I'm wearing some ByoGlobe gear here with my Team Ki-Jana jersey, but talk a little bit about the business that you're running now.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, so I own a company called ByoGlobe. I started back in 2008, and it's kind of metamorphosed itself into what we are now. We're a marketing and branding company. I went to school for marketing. That's where I graduated Penn State with. And basically what we do is we did a bobblehead too for the Spikes a couple years ago. But basically we're a marketing and branding company. So if you're a business, you need anything from customized branded apparel, screen printing, embroidery, we do that. Promotional giveaways, signage, awards, recognition, stickers, the whole 9 yards. We're a one-stop shop for any business or organization's marketing and branding needs, and we do online stores, company stores that we can do. So that's something that's dear to me. That's something I kind of found my way, and blessing I'm a vendor at Penn State, so I'm able to do some stuff for the university. But we're doing marketing and branding. It's a little tough right now, obviously because of COVID. Marketing is something that business need to do, but sometimes in the budget, people are just really trying to stay afloat right now. So, I get it, but it's been good to me, and it's something I enjoy doing. And for me, it's not like it's going to work. It's something like I like trying to be creative and do it.
One of my most special moments at Penn State was 2 years ago when we did the whiteout for Thon, and Ki-Jana's team helped us get those T-shirts. Fantastic T-shirts to distribute 12,000 T-shirts in the Bryce Jordan Center. But it was really special, and so it was great to partner with you all on that. If people want more information about ByoGlobe, where can they find that?
I appreciate it. So our website is www.byoglobe.com. It's BYOGLOBE.com, and our office number is 888-855-5359, or you can email us at info@byoglobe.com.
That's awesome. Ki-Jana, always great to catch up with you. Thank you so much for joining us on Coffee Hour, and continued good luck and safe health, and all the blessings to you and your wonderful family.
I appreciate you too, Paul. You're doing a great job. I mean, right now I know it's tough, with COVID, and the football season's not here, and obviously football, as we know, brings a lot of us together for a short time. But kudos to you doing things like this, where you're bringing former alums on to have a chat and bringing our fellow alums across the world right now to be able to interact and doing a hour chat. And this is a great thing you're doing, and I appreciate you having me on here to do that today.
Well, thank you for being here. And to our participants, thank you for joining. If you're a member of the Penn State Alumni Association, thank you for your support. We are powered by pride, and your support fuels that pride. If you're not a member, what are you waiting for? Go to our website today at alumni.psu.edu, and you too can be part of the world's largest alumni association.
The
Tune
best
in.
too.
The best, exactly.
The
Tune
best.
in tomorrow night, Thursday night, 8 o'clock, where we will have our premiere of Football Letter Live. You can see the background here. I will be on at 8 o'clock with John Black, the editor of the Football Letter, and we'll be talking about Penn State football history and everything going on with COVID-19 and the postponed season. So make sure that you tune into Football Letter Live tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Thank you for all you do for the university, for the glory, and for the future. We are
Penn State.